Hi, and good evening, everyone, here from the Temple of Silence in Finland. Thank you for joining us on this repeatedly important meditation. Every time the Tibetan mentions the idea of the triangles, he emphasizes the importance. I think there are about 214 references to triangles in his work, at least on the CD-ROM. And, we'll be going through some of them to give you, different perspectives. This morning, we continued with some of the esoteric science behind the triangles. And I think that's really most fascinating. And it requires some pretty close study and a fair bit of memorization, I would say, to be able to deal with and notice the subtle energies which are making their impact on our etheric body and other aspects of the personality. I'd like to read just a little bit here from the Tibetan. Not a lot, but he's talking about the power of the triangles. Finally, when the power of the triangles, the spiritual name given in the secret doctrine to the soul, well, either the pentagram or the triangle, really, when indicating the soul, is being imposed upon the personality, then their energy supersedes the other energies, and the personality, focused now in the mind and responsive to soul impression, expresses upon the physical plane, through the medium of the physical brain and body, the intent, potency, and nature of the all-inclusive soul. That is a powerful paragraph speaking to us of the future when we possess the initiate consciousness, and the benefit to all of humanity of this triangle's work is encapsulated in this little paragraph, that the soul energy may come through onto the physical plane and through the etheric body. We have the atomic plane, which is ruled by Libra. And as we know, when we look into the sky, the constellation Libra, like Capricorn, is basically a triangle. We have to learn how, as the Tibetan learned under the guidance of his teacher, who probably was Master Kudhumi or Pythagoras at the time, how to esoterically bisect the square and come up with two triangles which can be superimposed upon each other. This is a work of superimposition. Triangle upon triangle upon triangle, all the way from the logoic plane, where Sanat Kumara will be found in the very center of a triangle consisting of the three Buddhas of activity, and down through the spiritual triad and through the soul on the higher mental plane, a limitation of the soul really, and through that triangle we call the personality, and down into the vehicles, and finally into a network of nadis on the etheric level, which have been triangulated and are thus responsive to the impress of the soul. I suppose it's a lot different thing to speak words, simply speak them or think them, and to actually have the experience of the triangle. He goes on to say the individual etheric web galvanizes the automatic physical body into activity. It's from a previous system or from the matter of the moon chain, but pretty well from the previous solar system, and this matter has to be redeemed excuse me, and accommodated to the geometry of the second solar system. The grand geometrician is at work, and God, we are told, geometrizes. This really came through in the book by Leadbeater and Besant called Occult Chemistry. Right down on the atomic level, esoterically, the geometry was made clear. The energies controlling the physical body through the medium of the etheric web are the four mentioned above. I guess it's in a previous reference. The conflict in the brain consciousness of the evolving human unit begins to assume importance when the man starts to recognize these controlling energies and their source and effects. Well, certainly the etheric, the astral, and the lower mental work their way into the brain, and also the personal energies. It is immediately obvious that the work of the disciple is therefore almost entirely within the realm of energy and forces. So when we ask, what can we do? We keep this subtle work in mind, because it is the nature of how finally we learn to work. And let's see here. Okay, I'm going to just, I don't know what happened. Something happened, but I'll be right there. The study of occultism is the study of forces and of their origin and effects. Very straightforward. An ashram is a place wherein this study enters the laboratory or experimental stage. The disciple is supposed to be in the process of becoming aware of the forces and energies which condition him as an individual. These originate within himself and produce changes and specific effects in his life expression upon the physical plane. When he knows himself to be the life and the lives, as the secret doctrine puts it, a sum total of forces and a controlling energy, we call that the soul, then he can be a world disciple and work significantly in the ashram. I suppose there are some beginning types of work which are not especially significant. The world of significance, actually, is the world of the spiritual triad, which is the true ego or soul. And somehow our work with triangles gives us an impulse from that realm of the spiritual triad. I do, recommend that we study topically, the Tibetan recommends this really, which is to study vertically and not only horizontally, and thus we complete the cross. And we use the CD-ROM to find the references, and we look at the same term in many different contexts, and thereby have a more rounded out point of view regarding the meaning, the world of meaning, the world of the soul, the world of significance, the world of the triad, the world of being, the world of the monad, and the world of ultimate causes on the cosmic physical plane, plus, of course, a deepest level of being found on the logoic plane. All of this lies before us to open up. Okay, just a little bit before we do the normal meditation, which involves any triangles in which you may be functioning. All of this is part of the new and coming science of invocation. Let's see here. Yeah, I think we can go on now. And our meditation has us entering the world of light. And first, the white light, which is recommended for use of purification in a treatise on white magic. There, the white and the violet lights are recommended for different types of empowerment and purification. So we breathe in a few times this white light, and we inaudibly to ourselves, we sound the Om 3 times, once for each one of the personality vehicles. And then we go forward to these instructions that he gave to Jean Montchart, who was, I think, a Jesuit priest. And he had a history in the French Revolution that DK, I think, pointed out either to him or to others. And he was an advanced disciple. And what he said to this disciple, Ray 2, 6, 5, 6, 7, has application to ourselves. I would ask you, he said, for a few minutes each morning before doing the group meditation to rest quietly back in your chair or bed, and, closing your eyes, link up with your soul and with me, your friend. You will thus create a triangle of light between your soul, your head center, and myself. Fix and hold this triangle firmly in your consciousness. Through the power of the creative imagination. Then see this triangle as a solid triangle of light and not just an outline. Visualize the base of the triangle on the mental plane, really the higher mental plane, where Master Decay works, and where dwells and works your soul, projected as the angel of the presence. The lower point of the apex touches the top of your head. Then see pouring down, via the triangle, a stream of light, golden in color, and not white. It is more light orange than white, the fundamental color of the egoic lotus. See this light orange light flooding your whole body. And when you have visualized this as perfectly as possible, then rest back in that light and bathe in it as you would bathe in the waters of the sea. See it permeating every part of your physical equipment, and this of course includes the etheric body. As the higher part of the physical equipment, and let it do its work without your having any definite idea as to what should be accomplished. And then he says, the rest of the activity is in my hands, and you can safely leave it to me. This exercise will aid you in handling your life problem and your service until such time as you enter into that light, wherein consciousness awakens free from the bonds of flesh. The blessings of your co-disciples is upon you, and yours on them. So that's our attitude towards each other one of blessing and promoting the influence of the soul in every life. Now, having reached the poised stage, and holding the consciousness steadily in the mind and not in the head, contact the spiritual triplicity, which is that which, quote, hovers over the square and radiates the energy of light into this waiting field of active thought. So then naturally we have soul-inspired, soul-permeated thoughts. This triangle work has, originating as it does on the, well, one of the major planes is the atmic plane of Libra, the nirvanic plane, the third plane with which third-ray monads, such as I think the Tibetan and certainly the Buddha, have a lot to do, brings down the will. And so we enunciate together the mantram of the will. In the center of the will of God I stand. Naught shall deflect my will from His. I implement that will by love. I turn towards the field of service. I, the triangle divine, work out that will within the square and serve my fellow men. Now, focus on your triangle or triangles, knowing that energy follows thought. And as we connect with our various triangles members, even if it's just one triangle, we know that the etheric network becomes ever more living through that connection. And so these triangles will be qualified by the energy of love as goodwill, goodwill in action, or love in action, the second and third aspects together, and light. So we spend some moments calling upon our group members, our increasingly soul-infused triangle group members, by name and with love. So we engage in that. And love, goodwill, light flows between us and our triangle's members with less and less obstruction and more a reflection of the soul power. We realize that we are helping to create a great network. It's not so regular as it looks in such conventionalized diagrams, but connecting people and communities and nations and continents, and in general many soul-infusing personalities within the human race. All of this somehow inspired by the Buddhas of activity, and especially one of the Buddhas of activity that works through love, intelligently applied in humanity. So this kind of combination of second and third ray energy, eventually first ray energy too, will enter the triangles and help to render effective the work of the men and women of goodwill. As the square-like etheric field is rendered into triangular formation, as is, I think, the case in the sacred planets already. It is the Buddhas of activity who atmically and with will, shambolically, are behind the triangles, the three Buddhas. And so we visualize the flow of spiritual light passing between the members of our triangle or triangles, descending especially from one of the Buddhas of activity, the one most connected with love and cohesion. But really all three aspects are involved. And we recognize the fact that when the eye is opened, all is illumined. It's a Taurian mantra. So light is brought into the square-like etheric field, and we tap that reservoir of energy found upon the inner and etheric side of life. And this will automatically and with full circulatory effect enable the exoteric work of the new group of world servers and of the men and women of goodwill. It's like the life behind the outer activity. We link our little group of triangles, or even one, with the global network of golden triangles. And we have to be convinced of the interesting fact that when regarding the three Buddhas of activity, they can work in emergencies, energizing the triangles network, which naturally energizes those who are attempting to do good in the world. It's an instrument for the three Buddhas of activity and, let us say, in a way, the Sanat Kumara in the very center. And another triangle, we have the Manu, the Bodhisattva, and Mahachohan with Sanat Kumara at the center. Many triangles, all carrying this spiritual charge and superimposing themselves upon our own electrical, etheric network. So, in times of emergency, we are supplemented. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Lords of Liberation, being three, did not take advantage of the Triangles Network when they basically saved humanity from the retrogression of having to start the whole human race over again. So, of high origin are these triangles. So it's a very living connection from the heights of the cosmic physical plane to the depths. And really, if we look at some of the maps, we will see that even beyond the cosmic physical plane, the triangular formation is potent. Check out page 344 of a treatise on cosmic fire. The solidarity of the network is instrumental. It's work that must go on. It is dear or close to the Tibetan's heart. That's somehow an occult statement. It's not sentimental at all. Close to the heart of the Tibetan. So, essentially, this is invocative work, providing the ABCs of the coming science of invocation, and then this ongoing sentence of importance, the strength of these triangles, their strength is dependent upon the depth of feeling in the one case, and the strength of the will in the other, with which they are created. The depth of feeling and the strength of the will. Somehow, what provides love and what provides will have to be brought together. So close, he says, to my heart. This work must go on, he tells us. Now, we will listen to the great invocation, and think about our triangles through which the great invocation is sounded.
Mind of God.
And so may it be. Manifestation. We see the global network of golden triangles covering the entire planet. It's a work in progress, it's happening, and we endeavor to realize the factual nature of this great, living, spiritual organism which constantly substands and underlies world affairs, and especially the attempts to bring forth the good into manifestation. It is a growing, vital reality of such life and potency that it can break through or break up all limiting outer cleavages, and by the very force of its interior life, eventually externalize itself on the dense physical plane. We visualize at least 100,000 living triangles functioning within the square-like etheric body of the earth, transmuting it into triangles. That's the story. Alice Bailey is said to have said that when about 100,000 triangles of high quality existed, that we could turn things around. And we attempt to see Earth as a sacred planet, and humanity redeemed. And in closing, we sound the Om 3 times. For each level of the personality. Sustain the circulation of love and light flowing through our triangles and the network of triangles. And we see this work as a growing success, esoteric, deeply esoteric work, simple, but deep. And we do our best to sustain this work according to the wish and will of the Tibetan. So friends, thank you for your participation. Tomorrow morning, the Identify as Being work, where we learn really the art of contemplation, a further step in the meditative process, leading to inspiration and illumination, inspiration and initiation. And then onward, we're still studying France, Actually, it's the reappearance of the Christ tomorrow night, and then the study of Destiny of the Nations and the glamour, dissipation of glamour on Friday night. We continue. And we will close with great invocation number 1, visualizing a world at peace, as will be the result of the triangle's effective service.